Good day, everyone. In this video, we are going to be looking at triggers. We'll be working with triggers from the Azure portal. So let me share my screen. Yeah, so before I explain what we are really doing, to create a new trigger, you need to come over here, new trigger, and you have what you want to do. So what this trigger is basically is, if you can recall, in our previous video, we had a lab that involved calling a function, triggering a function when there's some kind of operation in our database. But over here, what we want to do is we want to create a trigger. Then anytime that trigger is called in our program, that trigger is going to perform some kind of operation in our Cosmos database. So you need to give your trigger a name. You need to specify if you want the trigger to happen before some kind of operation is happening in your Cosmos DB database or after the operation is happening. So in this our case, we are looking at before. Then the trigger operation, kind of like the type of task that the trigger will be doing. So in this case, I want to give the trigger full rights. So the trigger will be able to create, delete, or replace content of our items. So I'm not using this because I already have one over here that we are working on, and this is add timestamp. And what this trigger is doing is that, so in our program, we are going to have we are going to be building an application, something we built previously without trigger, that adds a new item to our Cosmos DB. But in this case, we are creating a trigger that before it adds the new item, the trigger looks, if the trigger checks if there is a timestamp property in our database in what he wants to add. And if there are no timestamp property, it will create one based on the current time, based on the current dates, to create one based on the current dates, and add it as a property to our Cosmos DB in the item. I believe that's clear. And we are using pre because, I mean, we want it to be part of our item properties before it is added. Yeah, so I believe that's clear. So let me just go straight to Visual Studio. So what's important is understand the concepts, and you will be good to go. So we have just this simple shorts program. Yeah, many of all these, we've been working with it before. I literally just usually copy and paste them over here, calling Cosmos clients, creating our container, getting access to our container. Then this is the item we want to add to our container, to our Cosmos DB. Then this is where the action is happening. So I am calling this trigger, add timestamp. If you can recall, this was the ID that I used. And what we are doing here is, based on what we've written here, you can see that over here, there is no property called timestamp. So this trigger will check if there's a timestamp over here. Since there's no timestamp that have been hard coded here, is going to create one and add it to this item property before it's now pushed to Microsoft Azure. I believe that's clear. So let me just run this program. So I'm running it now. Let me run it. And I'll stop sharing. Then let me share the output screen so that we can see what we are doing. This is the output screen. We'll see if successfully added. Yeah, item created. So we successfully created the item. So let me go to my edge. So take note of it's item number 11 that we just added. Yeah, so we can see the list of items here. As you can see, there is no 11 over here. So if I should refresh, so you can see that it does not have timestamp, 7 does not have timestamp, 4 does not have timestamp, as well as the request we're adding does not have timestamp as part of the property. But if I should refresh, we'll see the 11. Yeah, this is 11. If I should go over to 11, if I go over to 11, you're going to see our timestamp here that have been added. So even though by default there is a TS that literally means timestamp that is created by the system, but this is what we're interested in. The timestamp over here, which was created because it's not it couldn't find any hard-coded one as part of our request that was sent. So I hope that this have been informative for you. If it has, don't hesitate to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Have a nice day.